So here's where we are with the Democrat nominee for the presidency, Joe Biden. As I've already told you, the way that the media, the national press, treated the Kavanaugh situation was that any allegation against him was to be believed, no matter how flimsy it was in terms of evidence, or even how not credible it would seem at first look. And that was a situation where there were a lot of people that said that they didn't believe it had happened, or that they couldn't give corroboration for it. There was no evidence that could be presented. But the standard was not only should a woman have a right to be believed, the standard was that if there's even a doubt that is created about this person's ability, if there is any doubt whatsoever, then ability to do this job, credibly and in the eyes of the public, then we deserve something better, so that person should step down. That was the standard for Kavanaugh, that the media set up and that we were told we should all adhere to. How can that now not be the standard? If it's for a Supreme Court justice, how can it not be the standard for a president? Now, we all know that they covered up stuff with Bill Clinton for a long time, too, that Bill Clinton was credibly accused of rape. We know that, right? That is on the record. That has been long established. Media didn't care. But now, in the post-Me Too era, when they were so clear, so definite in what the standards were for gauging this kind of conduct, for deciding what should happen and what's believable and what's not, they're willing to toss this all out because of politics. We know this. Here's the problem that they currently have to deal with. And they're going to go through a lot of supposed soul searching and processing, and they're going to use a lot of fancy words that mean one thing and one thing only. They're not going to do squat about this. They're not going to do anything about it. They're just going to say, oh, yeah, we talked about it. We covered it. We covered it in the back of the newspaper. We didn't mention it on air on TV, but sure, yeah, no, we covered it. We're still looking. We're still researching. They're going to be researching Joe Biden's sexual assault allegations in 20 years, meaning they're never going to really research it. They're just going to keep saying that. Oh, no, we're still looking at it, still trying to figure stuff out. Here's the problem, though. We were also told that contemporary corroboration is meaningful, right? Because at least that establishes that the person did not, as I believe the Kavanaugh accusers did, come up out of nowhere with, I'm going to be a hero to women, to the women's movement, to the left, by destroying this guy before he can be on the Supreme Court. And so they just made up stories, people that knew him from his life, but they just made it up. The problem that Biden has is that this isn't somebody who just made it up now because she doesn't want Biden to be president. This is somebody who, according to what we now have as at least circumstantial evidence, she was telling people about this at the time. And the timeline all matches up for when she left the job and what she did next. Here is audio of Tara Reade's mother back in 1993, allegedly calling into CNN to discuss how her daughter something bad happened to her, and it was from a prominent politician. Here, this is what the audio of it sounds like. Play clip 2.
We're back. A couple more phone calls on this very important topic. Our guests are former United States Senator Howard Baker, Richard Allen, former National Security Advisor, and Lois Romano of the Washington Post. San Luis Obispo, California. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Now, but these are the people who do come to the Lois Romanos, right? The staff worker who says, I want to let you know about what's going on, either with my boss or the guy down the hall.
And a lot of these people have a sense of obligation. They feel that this public official should be accountable if it's something
They're
wrong.
whistleblowers to the press.
Guess where Tara Reade's mother was living in 1993 when that phone call was made to the Larry King Show? San Luis Obispo, California. Guess when Tara Reade had just left her job? Right around then. People who have heard, including Tara Reade, have heard the audio, have said, yep, that's Tara Reade's mother. So what are we to make of this? She clearly had a problem with Biden back then. that made her leave her job. And it was so troubling that even her mother was calling into Larry King's show to say, this is the situation. So she didn't just come up with this story now because she doesn't want Biden to be president and she likes Trump. In fact, I understand she's a Democrat, but I'm sure that won't get much play. So what do the Democrats do about this? You know what's funny is we all know what they're going to do, which is nothing. This will just be treated like it's a thing that we all know but cannot be spoken of. Can't talk about this. Doesn't have any resonance, doesn't have any impact or power. Joe Biden has to beat Donald Trump. That's all that matters. Nothing else matters. I really believe that the Democrat Party could find out that Joe Biden had a long history of this. And I would note that bosses who tend to grab women and penetrate them against their will, which is what the allegation is here, tends not to be a one-off thing. There are bosses who do this, and they tend to be predators, and that's usually what you find out in when you do a deep dive into their background and how they've really been. So is this woman even the only one with Biden? But I'll tell you this: if 5 women came forward and said that Biden did this, you know what the response would be from the media, from the press? Well, women accused Trump too, so can't do anything about this. The whataboutism, the double standards, it's going to be jaw-dropping. All the people in the media who were claiming that Kavanaugh should step down, claiming they believe Kavanaugh, their politics were quite obvious in that whole process. They're the same people now who are not saying anything about what the allegations against Joe Biden are. And I would note, because I also think that this is important, I think this is something that we need to keep in mind. There's no accountability whatsoever for the press doing what they did. The lies that they told, the willingness to cast aside any effort at impartiality, at being nonpartisan, and being wrong. They were wrong. They're wrong about Kavanaugh, and they're going to feign ignorance and stupidity about Biden, because what else are they going to do? There's nothing about this allegation that rings false. And if 5 women came forward and said that Joe Biden had done this to them, they would still say the same thing. Nope, none of them have a right to be believed. Too much at stake here for the left. Too much power. They hate Trump that much. How can anybody who's a journalist be taken seriously with this? I mean, you go back and look at what people were saying on the left, what the Democrat media was saying about Kavanaugh at the time, those who believed all this. They've set a standard here that they just simply are going to forget that they set. They're going to just pretend it never happened. Because these people, I really tell you this, among the worst human beings in America in professional life who are treated generally well and think that they're important are mainstream journalists. They're among the worst people in the country in any profession. Yeah, there's cartel hitmen who are worse, but I'm saying for a profession that thinks of itself as being elite and worthwhile and really important to the functioning of our republic, journalism is rotten in America. Not all journalists are rotten, but journalism in general is rotten. There's no other explanation for how this Joe Biden allegation is being handled versus the way that the Kavanaugh situation was handled. Do you think that CNN found this in its archives, I would note? Nope. Someone else had to go and find this in CNN's archives. Wow. You mean that the same media that was able to find a 10-year-old, off-stage mic moment with Billy Bush and President Trump to try to destroy him, a classic October surprise, as dirty as it gets, right before the election. You mean that same mainstream media couldn't figure out this? It had to be brought to CNN's attention. Oh, wow. I don't think anybody's even a little bit surprised by that. I mean, CNN is on an anti-Trump jihad. We all know that. They've been on it for years. They're not going to change. But we don't have to show them respect as a media organization, as a journalistic enterprise, because they don't deserve respect for either of those things. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.